see, why are you so calm? The whole world is all around us. Everything's going bad. The crops are bad. There's no rain. We don't know how we're going to eat. The kid's sick. And yet you seem to be so calm. Well, you wouldn't understand if I told you. Well, what do you just go ahead and share with? Well, why are you so calm? Well, you just don't understand. I saw iron swim. Do what? I saw an axe head swimming up the River Jordan. What are you talking about? You know, it doesn't say. I read a lot of commentaries that you like to use the word float. Look, dead wood can float. I'm talking about this axe head was doing the backstroke going down the Jordan River. I mean, it was alive. Only God can do that. And I mean, really, when you get to a place where you've seen a miracle like that things just don't seem too big to you anymore. I think about David, whenever, the whole army of Israel didn't dare fight Goliath. Even King Saul, the Bible said he was a head above everybody else. He was very tall. He was a big guy. And he didn't want none of Goliath. And yet this little shepherd boy comes along, bringing food to his brothers, and he's like, what's going on, guys? Why is nobody shutting this guy's mouth? He said, hey, I've slayed the bear, I've slayed the lion, and this uncircumcised Philistine is going to be like one of them. Look, I've already beat the bear and the lion. They're bigger and badder than he is. That's how our trials are. When God brings us through the impossible, when he causes the axe head to swim, so to speak, then for the rest of our life we'll be forever changed. And this young man, I believe he had a lesson learned that everything is possible because of cross Calvary. I don't know what you're dealing with today. I do know, when I envisioned him swinging that axe, he wasn't thinking about anything going wrong. He was just going about his business. He was just doing the work of God, and all of a sudden he throws that hammer back and he feels that weight go off of him. That's a scary feeling. That's a helpless feeling, And that's the way it is in our life. Man, we're just going through life, and the old saying, life happens while we're busy making plans. We're just going along doing our thing, trying to do our best to live for the Lord, and also plans out of nowhere. The axe head of sickness, or the axe head of cancer, the axe head of a tragic death in the family, the axe head of bad finances. I mean, so many things just come in our life. And what I'm telling you today is that God is using that to teach us some things. Here's the thing, and I love this, and I'll close with this thought. That young man could have done the work like he wanted to do with that axe that he had, and it almost seemed that when that axe head fell off in the water, it seemed like the work of God had to stop, like everything was over, like, God, what are you doing? If you were really here, you would never let that happen. But the whole time God just saying, I'm just doing something better, and you just don't know about it. I know we went to a mission trip down to Mexico back in, I believe it was 05. And we went down there in the middle of the Mexican desert. I'm talking about the middle of nowhere. And there's a lot of mountains, and it's just an arid land. It hardly ever rains. Unless they get a hurricane come through, they hardly ever get a drop of rain. And we were there that week. We were going to build the exterior walls of a schoolhouse for this orphanage. And somebody had donated an adobe brick maker. And basically what it was, it had two hydraulic presses in it, one horizontal and one vertical. And he would push it, that mud so tight together, it'd make a brick, just like the cinder blocks that we use, about that same size. Solid all the way through. And these hillsides, where the orphanage was at, was just full of adobe mud. They didn't have to get any from outside. It was right there in the hillside. And what we would do, we would have to dig that it's really dirt, because it had no moisture. We shoved that adobe out, we put it in a wheelbarrow, and we had a guy that would mix it with just the right amount of water. Because if you got too much water, it would just fall apart. It wouldn't congeal. But if it was too dry, it would crumble, it'd fall apart. It had to be the right consistency to stick together and make that brick. And do you know that out there in the middle of nowhere, that water pump quit working? That water pump stops working the first day we were there. We hadn't gotten just a few bricks laid. And the whole time I'm thinking, God, I took this time off. We're down here in 110-degree weather. They're depending on us to get this schoolhouse built for these poor orphans. And now you're going to let this water pump go out? We couldn't do what we needed to do. And do you know, We're all sitting there mowing. About that time, we look up at the horizon, and you can see clouds. All of a sudden, these clouds start coming together. They get darker and bigger, and they get closer. And do you know that it started raining? Well, we haven't seen rain in 15 when. And do you know, not only did it rain, but it rained just enough where we didn't have to mix it. We just scooped it out of the hillside and dumped the brick. And do you know before that week was over, we had every single brick laid we had to lay. We wouldn't have got it done because we had to mix it ourselves. It'd take too long. God said, you just thought of this stuff. God uses the broken things in our life to show us that we need to rest in His power. I don't know what He's doing in your life. And I don't know exactly what He's doing with His church, because we definitely got to access this belly of the water. God's going to make us swim. We're going to be able to look back for the rest of our life and say, I ain't worried about it, I can access one. My challenge to you this morning is not to be so apt, not to be so anxious to get out of your trial and fix the acts. And say, God, what are you trying to teach me with this broken thing in my life? This morning, what you need to do, if you find yourself dealing with some broken things, you need to come before God and cast all your care upon Him, for He cares for you. He's in control. Amen. Would you stand?